What is crossplay? Hi, I'm Michael Vossen, creator of Radiant Tactics, and today I'm going to try to answer that question. So, part of what we're trying to make unique about Radiant Tactics is it's going to be one of the first cross-playable RPGs. You could call it an interoperable RPG system, but that might just seem like word soup. So, let me try to explain what crossplay and interoperable mean in this context. So let's start with a kind of an example. So imagine you have games like Magic the Gathering, you have Warhammer 40k, you have Zelda or Metal Gear, and a game like Heroes of Might and Magic. And so let's look at a couple of differences between those. They have different scales. So something like Magic the Gathering is really focused on the kind of the creatures and battles between creatures, use of spells and such. Very zoomed in camera, if you will. Whereas something like a Shining Force or Fire Emblem is a little bit more focused on a single squad. And it zooms out even more for something like a Warhammer 40k or War Machine, where you have multiple squads all fighting on kind of one battle, to an even bigger and grander scale in a game like Heroes of Might and Magic, or one of the classics that I really enjoy, Ogre Battle, where you have lots of squads moving over a big overworld map and trying to kind of achieve a strategic objective on some territory. So you have all of these are all interesting variations of tactics genre. And what we're trying to achieve with a cross-playable game is to have characters and items that can play in all of those styles. So, the thing about these games currently is that if you have a magic creature, you can't take it into a Warhammer game. If you have a Warhammer creature, you can't bring it into a D&D game. You can't play your D&D characters in a Heroes game, et cetera, et cetera. And there's kind of various reasons for this. One is that one that we're not going to be able to ever solve for is that these games just have different IP and world building. And part of what makes a game like Warhammer 40k unique or a game like D&D unique is the settings that they have. So the Imperium of Man is not something that anybody's going to be able to replicate. Same with Faerun or other kind of settings and styles and world building that these games have done. But another thing that makes it impossible to bring a character from one to the other is that the kind of game mechanics are quite different. So, and there's kind of good reason for that, because some things are more practical and fun at one scale that become less practical at others. So, if you're playing D&D, you're tracking hit points, but when you start to add lots of units, it gets really, really hard for a single person to track all the hit points and status conditions of a large number of them. You kind of either need a different system or you need a computer to track them all. So what we're trying to achieve with cross-playable game is to kind of have a basic combat, exploration, basic systems that let you take units from one scale and be playable at other scales without too much fuss, too much practicality, trying to solve some of those gameplay challenges. And what we hope to achieve then with cross-playable games, from the player side, it means you can. I think the value of freedom is kind of a good lens to kind of think about this. So if you're a player, what that means is that, hey, look, you're free to take your characters that you like, that you've authored, that you've invested in, and thinking about how this character behaves and acts. You're free to take it to whatever games you want to play. You don't have to respin up the character. You can play whatever kind of game style you like with the characters you like. And so that's one thing new. Another thing it frees up is schedule. So, a D&D campaign is often kind of you've got a small, tight-knit group that's playing kind of regularly. That works for some schedules, whereas a game like Magic the Gathering is more amenable to pickup games, or kind of whoever can get there can play Friday night game nights. And what you get when you have a game system, and this is kind of what I mean by interoperable RPG system, an RPG system where the characters from one system are compatible with kind of gameplay that's a game style that is like another system. So what you get from that is the freedom to play the formats you want to play, when you want to play them, and continue to progress. So on the player side, that's one of the main kind of values of freedom that a cross-playable system would open up. There's also the creator perspective too, whereby you could think of all of these different game styles that you might play. Kind of D&D lets you build. Is probably the best example of one that lets you is kind of creator friendly, letting you build your own experiences in it, but it kind of only does so in one lens. And so what Radiant Tactics hopes to open up for creators is a variety of lenses to tell different narratives of different scales. So you can focus on a squad, a single squad, but we could talk about that squad in relation to its bigger organization. So you could have events in the game or encounters that involve a whole organization and its squads. You can do those in kind of regional levels. So you look at how the balance of power looks, how it relates, and it's a little bit like having a more powerful camera to shoot films with. Insofar as the scenario creator and players are all kind of like engaged in joint storytelling, this gives them more options for the types of stories they can tell. And so it's a we hope it's a novel take. We hope it's something that people will be interested in, but it's definitely something that we're going to have to experiment and refine compared to games that have really perfected a certain style of game experience and have really built out their world and are really admirable for those reasons. But if you're interested in kind of a system that has this kind of new and kind of novel property and seeing what it's like and supporting it, please visit our website. Try out some of the demos to see which of these lenses are working, which of them aren't. Let us know what you'd like to see, and if you're really behind us, please visit our Patreon page and support us there. Any financial, we're a small food truck scale size company, so any financial support we can get from players like you goes a long way. All right. Hopefully that answers questions. If you have more, please send them to our website. All right. Cheers.